Hey everyone. We are back. Hey, welcome back to Sober Witch Life. It's Sunshine, and this week it's just me. Um, I think we may be a little bit off kilter. We try to do it every other week, me and Dan, and every other week, me, but who knows? We kind of go and let spirit take us where we need, and sometimes life gets in the way of us being able to sit down and record. So, uh, still aiming to get one out every week if we can, but I digress. Um, today's topic, it was interesting how this one came up. I don't really know, but yesterday I was sitting in the kitchen and I think I was making breakfast, and all of a sudden, whoop, there it went, popped right into my head. And so today we are talking about psychic abilities and addiction. Okay. Um, as always, I'm going to start off with a little bit of story time. And we go way, way back on this story from this story's perspective, all the way back to when I was a child, when I was young. Uh, we're talking like real little, almost all the memories of my childhood. Anytime we would go to any type of family gathering or party, I always needed to find a place that was quieter than the rest. I never wanted to be around where everyone was talking, right? So I spent a lot of time in my cousin's room. I remember at my one aunt's house, they had kind of like a little bit of a game room. So I would be in there. My cousin at the time had a Nintendo, so the kids would be playing games. And often I would try to find a place that I could be alone. Uh, Sounds kind of crazy and strange, but I have a lot of memories of this. I have a lot of memories of trying to move away from the party or wherever the activity was. Um, and even like at my grandmother's house, I'm like literally getting pictures and images in my head. My grandma and grandpa lived in a double wide trailer. And so, my mom's side of the family was the larger side of the family. And so this trailer would be packed sometimes. And so I would be trying to like hide out in one of the rooms just to give myself, um, some quiet. When I was in my teenage years, and when we say teenage years, I'm really probably talking around the age of like 12, 13, starting. I realized that alcohol could make me more comfortable in those spaces. I would drink, and when I was, early teenage years, it wasn't a whole lot, but it might have been just a little bit or a little bit of trying. But it allowed me to socialize or what I thought, really at the time fit in, as crazy as that may sound, fit in. Okay. Uh, but yeah, when I got a little bit older, it became a pattern throughout my entire young adult life. I drank to fit in at parties. I drank to hang out in large crowds. I drank in order to fake feeling comfortable, right? Like it would allow me to ignore the fact that I wasn't comfortable in these situations. In my recovery, though, I've started to identify and understand, a couple more things about myself. I'm a highly sensitive person. I identify as an empath and I identify as a weirdo, right? I am strange and unusual, It reminds me of Winona Ryder in Beetlejuice, where she makes that comment about being strange and unusual. And I always kind of felt that way. And as an adult, I'm realizing I am, as an adult in recovery, I am strange and unusual. Um, Sounds can be a lot for me. So, one of the things that kind of really started to show this to me is my ex-husband liked to watch football and it would drive me bonkers. Like I would literally have this like horrible response to sitting there and watching football with him. And it wasn't any other sports. The other sports were okay, but football was really bad. And come to realize the reason why was if you're ever watching a football game, you literally can hear the crowd, you can hear the refs, you can hear the announcer, you can hear the players, right? And then there may be some other kind of noise or commentary over the top of it. It was like all of this sensation. So the agreement was if he was going to watch football, he had to put the volume really, really low. So sounds are a lot for me. Talking over TV. So my one ex, we'd be sitting there watching TV every now and again, and he would start talking to me, and I'd literally have to turn to him and be like, "Are we talking or are we watching TV?" Because I'm perfectly fine doing either one, but we can't do both at the same time. Um, and if I'm in a room in a space and there are multiple people talking at the same time, it's like literally nails on a chalkboard. This is what that sensation feels like to me. It's so intense. Like I'm so hypersensitive to it. Bright lights can also be a bit overwhelming for me. And this isn't as bad as the sound. And I think that's because it doesn't happen quite as, extreme. But fluorescent lights, overhead lights, if I'm going to be in a space, it literally can be this like wash of overwhelm if the situation, even like, I sit with this light so that I can record and things of that nature. And I literally have to have it turned away and the rest of the room has to be dark, right? Anything else that on can be, I don't know, kind of distracting, I guess, to me. Large crowds require a lot of energetic protection for me, so that I don't get overwhelmed by those feelings. I nowadays will often avoid any type of gatherings where my body doesn't give me a direct yes, right? So if I feel any kind of discomfort of thinking about going someplace, it's very rare that I will actually go. Concerts nowadays, because I love music, I absolutely adore and love music. Concert nowadays, it has to be somebody that I really want to see, right? So just bought tickets to um, two of my favorite bands are actually touring together this year. Hippie Sabotage and 2 Feet. So I'm ecstatic to go see them in Chicago in May, right? But I really, really love them and adore their music, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to do that. I'll put the protection up, beforehand. Um, and there are a lot of other places where you'll have a lot of people. My favorite, I love visiting museums, right? And so I will often get a direct yes, because even those spaces from a museum perspective are not going to be as overwhelming as, let's say, like a mall. I don't like malls. I will go every now and again because my partner, Dan, he loves to like mall walk. So I'll go every now and again, but they're not my favorite place to go. They take a lot out of me to be present in those spaces. Um, and, nowadays when it comes to gathering and getting together with people, like I don't really want to do it unless I know it's a bunch of weirdos. Right? Like I desire to be around people that are okay with being different, right? I desire to be around people that are okay if I need to walk away and I need some space because I'm getting overstimulated, right? I desire to be around people that I can wax philosophical with on a strange, unusual topic and like jump from topic to topic and nobody's like really, keeping score of what the conversation is, right? This is really important to me, which gets it to why am I sharing all of this with you, right? I'm sharing this with you because I realized that my highly sensitive, empathic, weirdo nature was because of how strong my psychic abilities were for most of my life, right? And I didn't even know it, right? These abilities have existed throughout my entire life. The clairsentience, the clairaudience, the clairvoyance. I have memories of having very distinctly lucid dreams, right, as a child, right? That's a sign or a symptom, so to speak, of clairvoyance, right? And I believe that a good amount, not all, but some of the reason I drank, why I fell into addiction was to desensitize me from my high sensitivity and my empathic abilities, right? To dampen all of that. I mean, imagine this. If you have these very strong psychic abilities, which I believe every one of us has psychic abilities, right? I believe every one of us has, but some of us are just naturally much more in tune to them. If you don't know that, you're like basically going out there and raw dogging it in life, right? That means that you can get visions at any given time. You can hear things at any given time. That you're clairsentience, that you can actually feel and be impacted by other auric fields and energetic fields at any given time, right? And so imagine that. Imagine it as though you were literally walking around with just third-degree burns over your entire body. Handling, like going out into the world like that. It would be hard. Anything that bumped you, anything that touched you, right? Even a breeze may cause you discomfort. And that's kind of what it's like when you have these strong psychic abilities. So how could I not seek out, because I had no clue of this, seek out some way to desensitize, to put bandages on, so to speak. And for a long time in my life, it was drinking that did it. I'm sharing this with you because you may be the same way, right? That sensitivity to sound that you have, it's because you aren't just hearing what's in your actual surroundings. It's because you're receiving sounds and signals through your clairaudience. It's hard to listen to spirit when you have 50,000 other things chattering in your ear for real. That empathic ability, right? You identify as an empath. It's because you're picking up on the auric field and the energetic field of those that are around you. Your clairsentience is on fire, so to speak. And you're not able to make that determination or differentiation of what is 100% yours or not. Sure, if you're at a concert or you're in the doctor's office, like you can assume that some of this energetic or the way that you're feeling, it is what it is, right? Concert, it's excitement. Doctor's office, it might be anxiety, right? Or, whatever it is. But if you're in a mixed place, like a mall, a shopping store, even the airport, like picking up and understanding what these energetics are that you're receiving may not be as obvious to you. And that calling to be weird, let's be real. You may be getting clairvoyant visions. You may have this rip and ripe imagination, right? And I believe our imagination is just one fraction away of a clairvoyant vision, right? You may be getting these claircognizant downloads while you're talking to people and just start jumping from topic to topic, right? And sometimes it may be hard to translate. And so you elaborate and you go and you go. And next thing a topic that you were talking for, you thought was going to be like 5 words to explain turns into a monologue, right? And that's okay. The conversation may go all over the place, and the folks that you're talking to need to be okay with it. I've also come to realize that a lot of these situations are why I'm also ADHD, right? And why you may have been diagnosed or feel like you are, right? Imagine all of this. Imagine all of this, high sensitivity, all of this reception, just being these psychic abilities, just constantly being on because you're not aware of it. And the reality is when we feel different and strange, or the world doesn't seem to be made for us, we will sometimes turn to a substance. Alcohol, drugs, sex, you know, hypersexuality, food, sugar. I know I still struggle with the sugar and the food every now and again. I shouldn't even say every now and again, uh, more often than I would like. That's for damn sure. And if all of this is starting to ring true, right? We go back to why I'm sharing this with you. You may be wondering, what is it that you can do about it? The first thing is start letting these abilities help you in recovery. For Dan, he uses them to paint, right? When he's in a moment of overwhelm, overstimulation, or anything of that nature, there's nothing that he enjoys more than to quiet it all with a canvas, or he's been using his iPad recently too. And that'll help him. That'll help bring his energetics down, bring him back into balance and alignment. I talk to my guides on a regular basis and receive messages and insights, right? In AA and around the tables, they would say, like, turn this over to a higher power. Okay, I think, I mean, I get what they're saying when they say this, but the reality is, we as witches, we turn it over to our psychic abilities, right? We start to understand that these abilities are here to help us, that when we receive visions, we're being given information. When we have dreams that are rich, that we have the ability to interpret them. That when we sometimes are hearing things, and, perfect example, during one of the sessions, we do a Claire's workshop in the Recovery Coven last night. I advised one of the girls uh, to go ahead and ask her guides another question. And she's like, healing. She blurts this out because she literally, for almost the first time, got this very loud and direct response to her question. Because these gifts, these psychic abilities are here to be used and to help us. So start using them. Start putting them into practice. Start engaging them. Paying attention to what you see, listening to what you hear, accepting that the downloads that you receive are meant to be received and acted upon. When you start leveraging and using these as a gift, that, to me, my dear, we've talked about this, that's at step 3. It's a huge step in your life transforming, allowing them to guide you, to take you where you need to go. So, yeah, today, for whatever reason, we're talking about psychic abilities and addiction. So I hope that you found this helpful. And if you did, you can always reach out, share any examples, insight, or ask any questions. But until next time, all my dear friends, much love. Meet all of you.